Hey guys, we're live from Boise, Idaho in the KIT studios here. Just finished up the Craft and Commerce conference sponsored by KIT. My name's Gavin. I'm with Ezoic.
My
joined
name's Charlie, also with Ezoic.
Yeah. So we just wrapped up this awesome event. We met a lot of really cool creators monetizing amazing businesses, building amazing businesses. And there was a keynote yesterday, and one of the people presenting the keynote, he talked about how do you explain your business or what you do in 6 words or less. Not an elevator pitch, okay? It's what you do and how you help people. So I wrote a few of them down, and I thought I would share them so people can get an idea what Ezoic does.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Starting off with, we help newsletters monetize websites with ads using first-party data. We help creators monetize the web. We turn subscribers into website revenue. And in its simplest form, we help you build your income.
Exactly.
Pretty cool. But yeah, we're primarily a web-first company, so I think some folks here might be wondering what we're doing at a newsletter conference. What the heck are we doing here?
I don't know. I'm kidding. We found that these newsletter creators are in an incredibly unique position because they have this own audience that they can do what they want with it. They can sell a course. They can give you free content. They can give you exclusive paid content. They can drive you to your website where you can do those same things. Maybe you can push videos. Maybe you can push merch. You can kind of do anything with that. So the connection between the newsletter and email is up to each creator individually. Is that something you want to sell? Do you want to get eyeballs somewhere? And in many cases, some people use their website to drive email subscriptions to the newsletter. But we kind of our specialization is kind of the transition from the newsletter going to the website. So we can talk about that a bit. And then we also want to talk about briefly, why you guys are in such a position. When I say you guys, I mean any single person with a newsletter, regardless of your size, you're in a very good position to earn top dollar web revenue income with your subscriber list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you bring up a good point with the different monetization models, because a lot of what I typically see, at least here at Craft and Commerce, is people are selling a course, a service, they're doing direct ad sponsorships in their newsletter, so media, affiliates, lots of different avenues to make revenue from a newsletter. But a website is also a great way to do that. One, it's a great way to showcase your business. But two, when you push traffic from a newsletter to a website, you're getting an opportunity to monetize that audience with programmatic ads. And programmatic is completely passive. You set it up once, you kind of forget it, and you're making more money as your traffic grows.
Really quickly, what is programmatic?
Yeah, programmatic is, in its simplest form, there's a bunch of exchanges that are out there bidding on your audience to display an ad. And those ads are either, we call it contextual, so relevant to your content, or retargeted ads. So if I'm shopping for something like Nike, which I'm sure will come up again in this episode here, next website I go on, what do you know? Nike pops up and I see them again. So that's kind of how it works, and advertisers are really interested in that because they're getting a user that's already interested in their product. But beyond advertising, I think newsletters are really cool because they provide a consistent source of traffic for a website. Mm-hmm. What we've seen in our space is a lot of websites and niche creators, if you will, their traffic has been decimated by AI, by shifts in the Google algorithm. So if you're not owning your audience, a newsletter is a great way to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's number one, that people got to think about owning their audience. And then the second component of that is newsletters come with really rich subscriber data. We call it first-party data. And I don't know if people know what that is or how they can leverage it, but what are your thoughts on first-party data as the expert?
So I think the 10-second historical context is that if a premium advertiser wants to target a certain audience through a website, they would have to make an educated guess on who that is based on maybe their location, maybe the type of device they're using, or maybe what traffic source they're coming from. So there's a guessing game to that. With the availability of first-party data, you're taking the guessing out of the equation. If Gavin clicks on my newsletter, for example, Gavin goes directly from my newsletter, where I know I've captured his email, to my website. There's a way with Ezoic you can pass that data with everything privacy policy related is kind of confirmed, or I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but you can basically utilize that information to then sell it to the advertisers, so that way you're getting a higher bid. When I say sell it to the advertisers, those advertisers are not gaining access to your subscriber list, but if there's a situation where, let's say I click on your website, or I click on your newsletter, go to your website, your newsletter knows that I'm Charlie. You can share that information with the real-time bidding that happens on your page. And essentially, if Nike knows who I am, they can basically create like a matching mechanism on the back end. So it's not you sharing your information with whoever wants to look at it. It's the fact that if someone else has your information as well, there's a back end encrypted hashing matching mechanism that will basically say, hey, now if I'm a premium advertiser and Gavin is supplying that first party information, I can spend a lot of money on that traffic to make sure that my advertising and my campaigns get in front of the audience that I want.
Okay. So basically what it sounds like to me you're saying is, if I have a subscriber list, I have a lot of valuable first party data from those emails.
The most valuable.
Yeah. And if I then go on to write my newsletter, I include some links that go directly to my website. That is bringing a much more valuable ad on my website, allowing me to make more. So how much more are we talking here?
I mean, we can be talking about 200 to 300% per 1,000 visitors.
That sounds pretty nice.
It's a lot. We have a lot of customers that going from earning $7,000 to $10,000 in a month to $30,000. I think $100 is enough money for people to do something, but if we're talking about 3xing your monthly revenue to a $30,000
and this is from ads alone?
Ads alone.
Yeah.
There's no selling that you have to do on your end. It's a plug and play with Ezoic. The real-time auctions happen, and the money comes in.
That's pretty wild to me, because we mentioned some of those other monetization models that creators typically use. They're selling a course, a service, you name it. And those are really valuable, and people should absolutely continue to do those things. But ads are interesting because they give you another way to monetize your audience. And yes, someone said this the other day, that 95% of people that subscribe to your newsletter or visit your website, they don't even buy anything. So what you're really doing in your funnel is catering towards that 5%, which is valuable, but 95% of those users are basically freeloaders, right? For lack of a better term.
Right.
So this is a great way to monetize them, and monetize them at a really high rate. So if I'm trying to get people out of my inbox and onto my website because I can make these huge sums of money, how do I do that?
Well, I think it's good to think about the psychological aspect of this whole scenario. When someone subscribes to your newsletter, they're invested in what you're either preaching, inspiring them, or selling them. So that person kind of relates to you or associates with you. So there is that type of connection that is already built in. And so you can kind of leverage that into getting that type of engagement back to your website. So one way we commonly see people do it is, within your niche, you can create something like a quiz or a poll that will basically create like an identity within that niche. And that's valuable for the reader because they're subscribing to you, they like your content, they're interested. Okay, let's take it a step farther. Well, how do you kind of identify within that space? So one way people commonly do it is they'll create a poll or a quiz within their newsletter that is not fully there, but they can click on it, go to the website, take the full poll, maybe get results of their personality type, and kind of get all the information there. So that's one pretty common avenue that we see a lot of creators use effectively, and it works really well. And I think the reason why I like to talk about that one, because I like to take on the perspective of the user. We don't want to be pushing some sequence or funnel that isn't valuable or isn't interesting. That's no effective way to kind of control your audience. So that is one way that I would definitely advocate for many to try if you were to try something first.
Yeah. This sounds really cool. So I actually have a newsletter, and I'll think about using some of these strategies. But The other thing that I think people should know is there's kind of two components to this. Number one is, yes, you want to drive newsletter traffic to your website, more consistent traffic. You're going to make more money with that first party data. But just having people click a link in your newsletter and land on your website is not enough in itself. That's kind of the creator's job, and you can do that. But the second part of that I think is really challenging is getting your subscriber data paired up with advertisers so you can get that really valuable ad returned on your own website. So one of the things that we're really excited to share is we just released an integration with Kit. And basically it's a one-click integration. And after you do that, any user that clicks out of your newsletter and lands on your website, you're going to get these really valuable ads from first-party data that we just talked about. So we're excited about that. But what else should people know about this future?
Well, I think it's really exciting for anyone that has a newsletter. I talked about this a bit before, but it's, you can create a website or you can utilize a website you've already created and be steps ahead of basically, 80% of the open web. So people that have been in this industry building Google SEO traffic and kind of building up all this high quality content, you can basically walk in here with a subscriber list, create a website, drive traffic, and include that first-party data and be earning more than those who have been doing it for 10 years. So it's kind of like a golden egg opportunity. And on top of that, advertisers, like I said before, want to spend on this first-party data because I can say, with 100% confidence, I know this is Gavin because he clicked through my newsletter to my website. So with that confidence, those CPMs and then, the revenue per impression skyrockets because advertisers are saying, great, Gavin made my life so much easier. I don't have to guess who this user is. I know who this user is. So I can save money and I can also make Gavin more money because I can serve less impressions for a higher cost more effectively. So not only is it a win for the user because they're getting better ads, not only is it good for the creator because they're getting the higher CPMs, but it's just great for the whole environment. Everyone's is just seeing a more effective ROI.
Yeah. Where Charlie said it first, golden opportunity.
It is a golden opportunity.
I think that's what people should walk away from here is if you have an owned audience, particularly from a newsletter, you're sitting on a gold mine, and you should consciously think about driving those visitors to your website, pairing that up with first-party data, and you'll be surprised at how much you can earn. And for those of you that are newsletter first, well, you're one step ahead of the game. You can immediately start getting high traffic to your website from a big email list. So that's kind of the lowdown on why we're here at Crafting Commerce.
Yeah.
Anything else people should know?
I think people sleep on the programmatic world.
Yeah.
We say, oh, this is a golden egg opportunity. This is super valuable. And people say, okay, well, how big could that even be? The programmatic market is bigger than the film and music industry combined. And when we see the shift of all these advertisers spending that budget to first-party data that doesn't exist, someone with a newsletter can walk in and start taking a lot of that spend. And advertisers will be happy to do that. So I can't harp on it enough. This is a massive opportunity for anyone with a newsletter to jump into that space.
Well, you know what? I'm happy to open both my inbox and my wallet to get some of that money from advertisers.
I don't know who wouldn't, truthfully. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we want to give a special thanks once again to everyone at Kit. This is a beautiful studio here in Boise. Special thanks to the CEO of Kit, Nathan Berry. Special thanks to Haley, who put on this event, and everyone else at Kit. Couldn't have done it without them. Come check out Boise. Awesome city, right?
Boise is really cool. Caught me off guard, truthfully.
Yeah.
It's definitely an outdoorsy town. It's definitely a newly built town. These studios are insane. I mean, we have 6 cameras on us, a teleprompter, a display screen, an audio recorder, 2 microphones, and the fact that if you use Kit, at a certain tier, you can get access to all these materials. So you might need to invest in studio time at home and spend a ton of money, or you can probably spend less money with less than a 3-hour flight to one of their 3 locations, one future location, and get this incredible experience. Yeah. Not only that, but you can also meet up with the creators within the community in the area. So I think it's a really good opportunity to leverage both the studio, get some travel in, meet some creators. It's a win-win-win across the board.
Yeah. Yeah. If we don't look good, I guess we're just not handsome. But check us out, ezoic.com. Check out kit.com or ConvertKit. And if you enjoyed the banter today, maybe we'll bring this podcast or video cast back.
I loved it. I can
Yeah.
run my mouth for hours.
Yeah. Let us know if you enjoyed it, and hopefully see you on air again.
Thank you, everyone. Take care. Sweet.